Hello, Recon97, and welcome back to Combat Mission Battle for Normandy in this community-made scenario 130th Panzer Regiment Advance, where we are attempting to cross the tributary of the Wear River and as part of a wider German counteroffensive against the Americans. We have only 2 minutes left on the clock, so we're very tail end of this 2.5 hour mission, and essentially there are 2 points of interest left to us. First is attempting to clear out the American position which has held across this road bridge, which to try and clear the objectives. Unfortunately this colours both Stitch 1 and Stitch 2, and we're probably unlikely to clear this out in 2 minutes. In fact, there's no probably about it. We are unlikely to get all the Americans out in 2 minutes, so we're kind of relying on there potentially being some overtime, or we just may fail that objective. The other point of interest, which is more just a personal interest and a bit of fun, is our Panzer Strike teams who are duking it out against a couple of M10s. And so far, with not much success. And you can see there was a shot actually just for tail end, the last minute, which has, you can see it right here, gone over the heads. So they have a couple more rounds each. In fact, I think they've got plenty of rounds each. This chap has 4 and this team has 5. So we can't see if we can... we'll see if we can't knock them out. So the general plan is going to be to play through the last couple of minutes, see if there's overtime, and I do want to spend a bit of time talking about the kind of scenario, both from a tactical perspective and from just a general scenario building perspective as well. But without further ado, maybe I'll just sit and we'll go through these together, since it's only a couple of minutes. On this front, we're really just waiting for this smoke to clear, so we can get a nice enfilading position along this trench line and kind of clear out the last of the Americans. There's a couple of guys in a trench line here who have been causing us no end of problems. And there's an AT gun tucked away back here, which is preventing us free movement of our tanks to try and, well, clear anything out this left-hand side. But there's been, I mean, they've paid dearly for trying to hold this position. And, oh, we'll have to go back and have a quick look at that. But we've also got to acknowledge that if they hold it and time runs out, then good job, considering we had 2.5 hours on the clock. It looks like more Americans are running. Excellent. There may not be anyone left in these trenches when the smoke clears. Now we have to clear, I think it's all the way back to here. In fact, a little bit further. So just clearing out these trench lines isn't quite enough. And we do have to watch eventually for the AT gun. Although if these guys now have eyes on it, might be able to take out with small arms fire. Let's go and have a look. The death of this Sherman, which I wasn't expecting actually, but I'm guessing our Panzer IV, who is absolute MVP, managed to catch a glimpse in that far field. Yes, he did. So I was complaining before about AI and spotting through trees and the fact that they seem to have incredibly sharp eyesight. But I suppose I was about to say it works both ways, but actually that's a reasonable view of a tank. So I take it back. I was about to try and even the score, give them some credit. First shot intercepted by a tree, actually. Doesn't seem to be much response from the Americans. Then they have taken an earlier hit, so it may have been that they didn't have the capability to fire back. Either way, that's a nice penetrating round, and as we saw earlier, we follow up with the second one. Excellent. Let's go back for the first one. I want to see if they rotate their turret at all after that first hit. You can see, sorry, it's dashing around with the camera. There's a round they took earlier in the mission. I need to find slightly smoother. Right. So that's the first hit, has now hit that tree. Yeah, it doesn't seem to move at all. Maybe they don't have the spot. I'm not sure anyone got out of that tank. Oh no. One person. One guy got out, which is the driver, I think. Okay. And then the only other thing I want to check is how our Panzer Strike team's gone. If they got on at all. And whether... Oh, that's that's not a good sign. So M10's not going down without a fight, which I suppose it is fair. But it looks like just... What's the word I'm looking for? Shaking them, suppress them, that's the word, rather than any actual damage. Hey! And we actually got hit with our Panzer Strike, which looks like that's taken that M10 out. So there is one left. I don't think it's going to cause much problems for anyone, in fact. Depends which way he ends up facing. I was going to say we could have brought our Panzer down this road, but... I'll just probably just let him run himself away, where he can do no harm to anyone. I say that, actually, he's probably going to end up with a potential spot on my armoured car, which would be a very upsetting end to what's been a very, very useful unit. But okay, good job, Panzer Strike. First Panzer Strike kill of this entire mission, I believe. You can believe that. Okay, good. Let's just jump to command phase. I want to grab you. I would like to ask you to open up, just so you have a bit better idea of what's going on. And I'm just cautious of... they've got to go a long way before they can really get eyes on. So that's fine. And here things are clearing. Yeah, it's a reasonable number of dead Americans. Maybe not as many as I would have liked, but we'll do. There's one brave soul that we can see in the house defending. Okay. Important bits are going to be for this team, who will fire naturally to see if we can clear out that AT gun and give our tanks room to maneuver if there's any overtime. And then aside from that, it's going to be try and clear out these guys out here. Okay, I'm going to put a wee cut in here just to check additional movements. I will bring you back for that 1 more minute playthrough since the last minute, and we'll see where we end up after that. Alright, let's see how this last minute plays out. I've not done any mad dash charges for my infantry or anything like that. I've resigned to the fact that if it runs to time, then we're not going to clear out both these areas. So you can see there's a significant amount of American infantry still available. Although we certainly have a reasonable amount of firepower with which to eject them if we have some time for it. So it does appear to be some Americans who bravely remained within the trenches. Well, one of them. I dare say that's not going to be a particularly comfortable position. And that's a good machine gun position there. Nope. Looks like he went. And we'll just take pot shots at those retreating. Excellent. Starting to push a few tentative scouts forward, which is probably going to go badly for them. But at least it looks like they made foxholes okay. I do want to check over here what these guys were up to. Well, mainly only the one with the MP44, because you have the capability of inflicting some damage, especially against that AT gun, which it looks like you're targeting. Oh, it's just a rifleman. No, you're having to go as well. Actually, or is it these chaps you're shooting at? Yeah, okay, you're engaging infantry, which is fair. I think that's probably the more relevant target for you, so there's a couple of them you've got to take out first. Okay. trying to spoil ourselves. Nothing seems to have happened over here. That's not true. Oh, many things have happened over here. Some of it being my worst fears. So, looks like the M10 did get himself all in position where he got eyes on my armoured car. And absolutely took him out. And interestingly, then you pull away. Do you spot him at that point? Oh, you've taken a casualty. Ah, commander sticking his head up, got shot. Goodbye. These BARs have been an absolute nuisance. I don't know what distance that is actually. It's a little bit frustrating, but there you go. And he's taking out. Oh, I'm really upset. This guy has done such good work. That is not the end he deserved. Now you guys are just taking pot shots. Not that you have many pot shots left. In fact, you're done. You missed them all. Okay. I'm upset to have lost him at the very end. Moment of truth time. Let's find out if we have any more time. We do have a little bit more time. Okay. Okay. In which case, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to probably go put a slight cut in while I keep pushing on this. If there's anything particularly interesting happens, or if we make a particularly great breakthrough, I'll bring you back. Otherwise, I'm going to play, because this could run 10 minutes and I don't want to do a lot live. Yeah, okay, so I'll do that and I'll come back shortly. Just want to come back quickly as our Panzer Strike team with the remaining ammo had navigated their way through this smoke cloud, kind of left behind by the destroyed M10, to get themselves into a pretty fantastic position to scout out the remaining M10. I'm pleased to say they didn't waste the opportunity. So that is the last piece of American armour, I believe, is now gone. So it's a pretty good result there. Happy at that. As you can see, our time is still ticking, so it's been almost 2 minutes since you were last with me. Unfortunately, we did take a little bit of return fire there, but I'm sure they'll be fine. In the centre, things are progressing quite nicely. Starting to push forward a little bit further with some of my forces. I can see the Americans have essentially abandoned these first two trench lines and are now holed up in this field. Which is good, because really to unlock this side I need to start stacking some guys up along this hedgerow, which I'm attempting to do. But yeah, I'll bring you guys either if I manage that or if we finally get time. I mean, realistically I probably need to run to 5 minutes at least to get this done, so wait and see. We're only about 30 seconds further down the line, but I want to bring that because it's a fairly momentous moment, to be fair. And what it is the final gasp of this very brave American that has been locking down an entire bridge all by himself. I can see we actually had an HQ team over, but apparently they're blind. So it was, I believe, this heavy machine gun team, which is finally got in position where we could spot this guy and take him out. And there he goes. Because that one position there, she had just laid down the road with his BAR, kind of shooting down this line, has caused, as you can see, no end of problems. Now that's not purely this man's doing, but he's prevented any push across this bridge by the rest of my infantry forces. As we've pretty much cleared out the farmyard now. This is ours. We're also starting to push some. We were starting to push some chaps up onto the hill. Oh. Hello. We have found somewhere. Can't even see the person, but presumably we have found an American somewhere. And that was enough. You saw an American, got scared and ran away. Well, as you can see, the troops, my troops are at the tail end, at the end of their tether. But yeah, but we've secured it all now, so we can look at the objectives. We've still got this one position, which I think should be easy enough to take care of. And then the AT gun there, which again, shouldn't be too much of a problem. Now we've got this commanding infantry position, we can just flank these guys, and that should be good enough. So, see if I get an extra couple minutes. One other thing, just to let you know, because it'll matter when we count statistics at the end, is that our Panzer decided he didn't like the look of the empty M10 and blew it to smithereens. So, which is fine. You want to do that? Not a problem. Good. All right. I'll keep trucking on and ground out these last couple of minutes. So we have our heavy machine gun team finally getting in position to clear this trench. Who have caused a lot of problems. They've stalled all advances on this left-hand side. And there we an opportunity to get a little bit of revenge. Our MG42 doing the good work. 1, 2 grenades, 3 grenades, 4 grenades, and amazingly, one chap manages to get up and run away. But yeah, pleased to have eradicated that little position. So there's not very many Americans left in the objective zone, just primarily the AT gun we've got to somehow unpick, and then these 3 squads. Everyone else I think is now outside it. Oh no, it stretches back a little bit. It's got a little bit of work to clear it there, but we're so very close. Do we get any more time? No. Oh! Okay. Okay, there's maybe a few more than I really thought. We got minor victory in the end. Which I think is fair. But, I mean, I didn't. At the end of the day, I didn't take the main objective of clearing out the bridgeheads. Oh yeah, US Army didn't get their objectives. Failed on all casualties, 0 but 28 points. That's not very good. And we didn't even get the sterile 2. I'm gonna have to see why not. That's frustrating. Apparently we secured friendly casualties. Surprised at that. And inflicted a lot of enemy casualties. Oh, friendly condition. Okay, interesting. Let's have a quick look. Okay, so more importantly, what was left on this side? So, 3 chaps there, 1... Oh, full squad still there, although they would come unstuck pretty quickly. Ten enemy casualties. And there's a few guys spread out amongst this field. Okay. And then the rest of it is clear. Yeah, I'm still amazed these guys. I don't know what they were doing over here. They did seem to bring an entire platoon over. Fair enough. And then, so what was it? You really? Ah, that's annoying. But I mean, it doesn't really matter points. We can claim it however we like. But yes. That's what stopped us getting that objective. It's a bit frustrating because he's just lying in a field of wheat. Right, things I want to see. 52 enemy casualties. That's impressive. Those chaps did well. And of course the real MVP is our Panzer Mark IV, Panzer IV I should say, the HQ tank. 33 casualties. And so it's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... 7 Shermans and 2 M10s. Now, possibly one of those M10s was already dead, and possibly one of the Shermans was combat ineffective. But still, that's phenomenal, considering the rest of our tank forces didn't do huge amounts of work. Had these guys gone? 26 casualties there, and oh my word, 68. See, these are the 2 guys that essentially cleared out this little pocket themselves. That's good going. My actual infantry. Yeah, look at that, a handful of casualties here and there, but not really high numbers. Can I select you? I want to see how you got on. Yeah, okay, this is our artillery. 63 enemy casualties. which is probably the first mortar barrage that we had, certainly not the second one. And then you got 7 AT guns up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow. Wow, that's impressive. But I'm frustrated we didn't clear this out, because we were very close, but at the end of the day, I had 2.5 hours of this mission to do that. It shouldn't have come down to a few minutes overtime. Okay, so things I want to do now. I want to have a chat about kind of tactics, what worked, what didn't work, what perhaps I should have done, and then maybe just a general approach to the custom scenario as well. So first, looking at the tactical side of things, what I really think would have come out in probably a major victory for ourselves would be two key things. First, I think the right flank, I think that was a good move. It worked well. I needed to do it sooner. I needed to commit more forces. So the Panzer Grenadiers, I mean, they sat on map for I don't know how long before I actually utilised them. And secondly, I should have sent, rather than 3 tanks, even though only 2 made it, probably something like 5, gone quite hard on that armoured support. And then that would have had a much easier job, and if I'd done it earlier, much more time, not only unpick the Americans, but also kind of start putting a heavier armour attack onto the back of this infantry. Secondly, I probably should have been more aggressive with my initial pushes across the river, or my initial expansion. Certainly when I got across on this right hand flank, I kind of rested on my laurels a bit. Partly that's because I wasn't aware of all the reinforcements I was going to get. Maybe we'll touch upon that when I get into the kind of scenario side of the analysis. But yeah, so that was definitely an area where I think we could have improved, had been a bit more aggressive. Our forces pushed a little bit harder, a little bit earlier, and seen if we can't have maybe cleared out the Americans before the reinforcements arrived. And then a fairly hefty contributing factor, I think, was the incorrect decision to try and engage with the Shermans at a long range. So earlier on, when we got, I think it's 3 Panzers here and 2 Panzers up in this ridge line, essentially have a long range duel with the Panzers out in this flank. That was just a bad decision. So that was kind of, I overestimated the ability of the Panzer IV and underestimated the Sherman's armour, or combination of the two. Which resulted in a fairly number of tanks and not much impact on the enemy. I would be much better served in taking the 3 or 4 Panzers there and flinging them as part of this wider right flank. And indeed, the 2 Panzers that were sitting on this hill then spent, I don't know how long, just kind of sitting on the reverse side of this hill, not assisting with the general combat. Things that went right, I think obviously using our artillery to knock out these AT guns, I think was key. And that would have, if we hadn't managed that then it wouldn't prevented this kind of right flank, because it would have been a position held there. And then the general mortar bombard in the middle, I think, was a good call, and see lots of casualties, even if the second iteration of that didn't work. Then I want to talk about just my approach to this scenario in general. And one thing I would say, which is become fairly apparent, and you guys have probably spotted it as well, but I think this size of scenario is larger than my optimal, kind of air quotation marks, you can't see them, play style, both from I think from an enjoyment, more from just an efficiency perspective, and that's just, one of the features of combat mission is obviously that everything needs to be microed. Every individual movement needs to be microed, every target needs to be microed. And when I get this many units, I just don't do it all to the same efficiency as I do on smaller maps. I start moving units around, en masse, squads around, say en masse, rather than breaking up into their constituent squads. I'm not as robust with my targeting of known enemy positions with a tacky eye can't see them, and I'm not as rigorous with checking my sight lines for moving vehicles and things around. That's just, part of it is there's a limit to which beyond it just feels like work, and I think this scale probably reaches that. And I think that's evident not only in just the general kind of inefficiency I noticed myself doing, but also in the fact that I was not leveraging my entire force all the time. You could see I would have sections of it committed to either the tank duel or the crossing or the right wing flank, and find I was neglecting other areas that were just sitting around for like 10-15 minutes. Part of that I was probably lulled in a bit of false insecurity about 2.5 hours, but yeah, I think it was pretty wasteful with my time in parts. And then onto the scenario in general. So first up, I think it's a good, enjoyable, and interesting scenario. I think it's credit to whoever made it. They've done a very good job. That my only real nag with it is that I didn't have information about the reinforcements, and I may have missed that somewhere. But certainly, if you look at the briefing, where you normally get your reinforcement lists. Oh. In fact, it's not even showing me. Okay, doesn't matter, I was in the wrong place. But anyway, it's not there. And so partly that led to me when I did that initial push across this road flank. I had held a bunch of units in reserve because I thought this was my entire force. Obviously, had I known I was getting significant infantry reinforcements, I could have pushed across then in its entirety and maybe been more confident about then branching out forward. Well, who knows? Also, I think I'm in general a fairly cautious player, which maybe didn't lean into this scenario very well. But that's my only great apart from that. I think it's interesting. I think it feels relatively well balanced. I mean, I didn't come out particularly well, but I definitely see that I could have done. There was, that was on me, not because it was on a difficult scenario. And I'm sure that I know some other people are playing this right now will probably get a better result. But at the end of the day, I think that result is fair. Wouldn't say it's my finest hour, but it was enjoyable, even though it took a long time. And then we just wrap things up. I just back at the after action report screen, looking at the kind of butcher bill. So we lost 300, and we killed essentially just under 500. And at the end of the day, actually swapped 12 tanks for 9. So on a manpower and material basis, it actually went pretty well, and probably better than I was expecting. Well, certainly than I was feeling. Probably our last push with the Panzer IV certainly helped even out some of these numbers, and I probably just didn't appreciate just the sheer number of American infantry. I mean, that's 600 odd infantry all in. Is that right? 3, 4, 5, 6, about 650 infantry on the field, which is a phenomenal size of a scenario. But yeah, I'm interested to see what your thoughts, see if you think there's anything else I should have done, or if, those guys who are also playing it, how you guys are getting on. Plan is we'll come back with a new scenario, probably go back to the modern for the next one, and then we'll come back with something else World War II. But as ever, I hope you have enjoyed this grudging minor victory, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Cheerio.